Could you sing this rule?
Why Sopranos Fear the F6. Diana Damrau's Queen of the Night. There is a note so high, so perilous, that entire careers are built on simply avoiding it. It lives on the keyboard 2 white keys above the infamous high C, a pitch that vibrates at a staggering 1,397 times per second. It's the high F6 note. For a soprano, attempting this note in a packed opera house isn't merely a challenge. It's like walking a greased tight wire over Niagara Falls during a hurricane. A single slip, one moment of hesitation, and the aria, the performance, the entire night, can shatter into a million pieces of public failure. Most singers treat the F6 like a loaded weapon. Diana Damrau? She made it her signature. Stick around, and I'll show you exactly how she tamed the most feared note in opera, forcing it to sit, stay, and sing on command. Before we dive into this, Opera Explained Deep Dive, know this. This isn't just about a high note. It's about a psychological war waged between a composer's cruel demand, the limits of human biology, and the sheer audacity of one artist who refused to be intimidated by the hardest opera aria ever written. The Myth and the Mountain. Go to any classical music forum online and type in hardest opera aria. Mozart's Der Hölle Rache, the Queen of the Night's second aria, will dominate the results. It's a 4-minute musical triathlon crammed into a ball gown, a 2-octave range, 27 acrobatic vocal jumps, and then, the final boss, 3 separate attacks on the F6. The pressure is so immense that statistics show roughly 4 in 10 sopranos scheduled to sing the Queen will cancel at least one performance. Why? The note itself is the perfect storm of vocal nightmares. Biology is the primary villain. The F6 sits directly on the soprano passaggio, a vocal fault line where the powerful chest register gives out and the delicate head voice must take over seamlessly. Any hesitation, any lack of coordination, and the voice cracks, producing the dreaded, career-haunting witch cackle. As if that weren't enough, Mozart, in a stroke of compositional genius or sadism, asks for the note to be sung quietly at first, then swell to a full-throated forte. It's the vocal equivalent of threading a needle while riding a unicycle on a tightrope across the Grand Canyon, without a net, and the canyon is on fire. A peek at the story. So why did Mozart write something so borderline impossible? For a Magic Flute opera explained moment, it's all about the character. If you've never seen the opera, just imagine Mozart's Queen of the Night as the universe's most powerful and enraged helicopter parent. In Act 2, her plans are falling apart. She corners her daughter Pamina, shoves a dagger into her hand, and delivers a terrifying ultimatum. Murder my rival, Sarastro, or you are no longer my daughter. This aria, Der Hölle Rache, literally, Hell's vengeance boils in my heart, is her volcanic Hail Mary tantrum. Mozart sets it in a furious D minor, with violins that skitter like spiders and furious stabs from trumpets and drums. The vocal line itself, the coloratura, is pure, weaponized rage. It sounds like fury on a strobe light. And that F6? It's the thunderclap after the lightning. It's the sound that says, I am not bluffing, do it. Without that note's terrifying power, the threat is empty. Anatomy of a vocal minefield. Let's zoom in on the sheer physics of that F6 and the vocal technique required. Hitting a pitch that requires 1,397 vibrations per second demands an insane level of coordination. To nail it, a singer needs a perfect confluence of events, breath pressure balanced on a knife's edge. Imagine trying to inflate a tiny balloon that has a pinhole leak. You need immense, steady pressure from the diaphragm, but if you push even a fraction too hard or too soft, the tone either vanishes or shatters. A microscopically precise mouth and tongue position. The vowel must be shaped like a bright E, but the jaw must remain completely relaxed and open to create space for the sound to resonate. It's a bizarre physical contradiction, like trying to scream a whisper. The engagement of the ariepiglottic sphincter. These are the tiny, mysterious muscles deep in the larynx that you unconsciously use to brace yourself when lifting heavy groceries. Engaging them gives the note a brilliant, metallic ring that allows it to slice through a full orchestra. Most people don't even know they can control them. Nerves of absolute steel. Now, coordinate all of the above while wearing a 20-pound velvet costume under 1,000-watt stage lights, your mouth dry from adrenaline, in front of 2,000 ticket holders who have paid hundreds of dollars specifically to hear you either succeed or fail. Now, do that 3 times in under a minute. This isn't just singing, it's a high-wire act at the molecular level, a masterclass for anyone learning how to sing high notes. Enter Diana Damrau. Into this arena of fear stepped Diana Damrau. The Bavarian coloratura soprano took on the Queen's crown for the first time at the legendary Salzburg Festival in 2003. The result was an explosion. Critics didn't just write good reviews, they threw roses and exhausted their supply of superlatives. YouTube clips of Diana Damrau's Queen of the Night went viral. She has since performed the role well over 100 times, conquering every major stage from the Metropolitan Opera to the Vienna State Opera. Her opera singer training is the stuff of legend. Her regimen includes punishing daily staccato scales that go up to G6, a full note higher than the aria requires, just so the F6 feels like a comfortable walk in the park. She combines this with a core-strengthening Pilates routine for ironclad breath support and long sessions of silent meditation to master the adrenaline that can turn a larynx into a traffic jam. She famously calls the note her pet viper. As she puts it, if you look it in the eye long enough, it purrs. The Damrau formula. So what exactly is her secret? How did she turn this viper into a pet? It's a multi-point formula of vocal technique and psychology. Breath budgeting. She understands the aria is a marathon, not a sprint. In rehearsals, she strategically marks, or sings at half voice, certain passages to save her vocal cords precious collagen bounce for the main event. Vowel modification. This is a master's trick for high notes. As she ascends to the F6, she subtly shades the vowel sound towards an IH, as in sit. This slims the mass of the vocal folds, allowing them to vibrate faster and more freely, preventing a crash. The perfect onset. She initiates the F6 not with a hard percussive bang, a glottal attack, but with a feather-light, almost imperceptible H. This prevents the vocal shock. From that tiny, perfect seed of a sound, she then swells the note into a laser-focused, diamond-hard forte. A visual anchor. She has revealed that she locks her eyes on a single specific spot high above the audience. This physical focus has a technical benefit. It instinctively helps lift her soft palate, creating more resonant space and killing the physical urge to reach or lunge for the note. Emotional jet fuel. Crucially, she doesn't fight the Queen's rage. She harnesses it. She channels all that fury directly into her breath energy, turning the character's emotion into a vocal afterburner. The result is an F6 that doesn't just sound high. It sounds dangerous. It doesn't squeak. It slices the air. The live breakdown. For proof, just cue up her iconic 2006 performance at the Royal Opera House, a clip that has amassed over 8 million views and continues to be the gold standard for any Queen of the Night analysis. Watch how she enters. She floats the opening phrases almost conversationally, lulling you into a false sense of security while she's secretly stockpiling vocal dynamite. In the first volley of coloratura runs, she masterfully alternates between sharp staccato and smooth legato, making the notes sound like articulate threats, not just a vocal exercise. Then, at measure 57, the first F6 arrives. She employs that micro-aspirate H onset, holds the note piano, quietly, for a split second longer than written, and then lets the vibrato bloom into a terrifying crescendo. The second F6 is even bolder, attacked at a mezzo forte with a vibrato so perfectly calibrated it staples the pitch dead center. For the third and final F6, she shifts the vocal color into a head mix shimmer that sounds like sunlight ricocheting off a blade. It's so shocking and perfect, you can literally hear the audience gasp on the recording. Psychological warfare. Of course, landing the note perfectly in a practice room is one thing. Doing it on opening night at the Met is a different beast entirely. Damrau admits that right before the aria, she gets a metallic taste in her mouth, a classic physiological symptom of an adrenaline spike and performance anxiety. But here's the genius. She has mentally reframed that feeling. She taught herself to interpret it not as fear, but as power. This isn't fear, she says. It's rocket fuel. To keep her mind clear for the thousands of micro-adjustments required, she creates a bubble of absolute consistency. She maintains a strict ritual diary, the same cozy socks for rehearsal, the same warm-up room, the same brand of peppermint tea. She also has an ironclad rule. She forbids herself from listening to any other soprano's recording of the aria the week of a performance. Comparison is paralysis, she told BBC Radio 3. By the time the curtain rises, the F6 is no longer an adversary. It's a tango partner she has led through the steps 1,000 times. The toll and the triumph. But even for a master, mastering the Queen of the Night doesn't make you bulletproof. The role takes a brutal physical toll, and vocal health is paramount. Oversing it just once, and your entire vocal ceiling can temporarily drop by a minor third. Damrau herself faced this reality in 2014 when a bout of bronchitis left her top notes clouded and unreliable. She made the difficult decision to take 9 months off from singing. She rebuilt her F6 in complete secrecy, starting not with the aria, but with simple 5-note scales and messa di voce exercises, swelling and diminishing a single pitch. She practiced in full costume under stage lights to simulate the real-world pressure. Her comeback at the Met was a moment of operatic legend. After she nailed the aria, the performance stopped cold for a 19-second mid-opera ovation. The lesson was clear. This note is not a genetic gift. It's a Stradivarius violin. It must be maintained with obsessive care, kept in a climate-controlled ego, and treated with profound respect, never machismo. Broader fallout. The Damrau effect has been seismic. Post-Damrau, opera houses don't just expect a soprano to hit the note. They expect her to deliver the same level of dramatic, narrative pyrotechnics. She raised the bar for what the role could be. This has had ripple effects in conservatories, where teachers report a worrying trend of freshmen attempting the aria years before their vocal cords have matured, leading to a spike in vocal hemorrhages. Some schools now have a rule. You must demonstrate 10 clean, sustained E6s before you are even greenlit to begin working on the Queen's F6. Meanwhile, audiences have become connoisseurs of the danger. In the age of social media, if a soprano opts for a safer, lower note, Twitter and Instagram can erupt with the savagery of a Roman Colosseum. Diana Damrau didn't just climb the mountain. She stood at the summit and unwittingly added another 20 feet for everyone who followed. If you've ever yodeled along to a song in the car and felt your voice crack and completely self-destruct, confess in the comments what note did you in. The funniest story of vocal carnage gets a pinned comment. Myth busting. The legend of the F6 has created a lot of misinformation. Let's bust a few myths. Myth 1. You need to use the whistle register to hit F6. Absolutely not. When we talk about whistle register versus head voice, the whistle register, which singers like Maria Callas use, is a disconnected, flute-like squeak. An operatic F6 must be a fully connected, vibrant head tone with enough power and ring to be heard over a 60-piece orchestra in a 3,000-seat hall. Myth 2. You have to have a tiny larynx to sing that high. False. While anatomy plays a role, decades of research have shown that superior technique, particularly in breath management and resonance strategy, can overcome most biological predispositions. Myth 3. F6 is the highest note in opera, not even close. The Queen's F6 is terrifying not because it's the absolute ceiling, but because of how it's used. It must be loud, sustained, and dramatically potent. Bellini's opera I Capuleti e I Montecchi asks for a G6, and the title role in Lakme has a filigree passage that touches A6. But those are typically lighter and faster. The Queen's F6 is a heavyweight punch, learning from the master. For the singers watching, Damrau's career offers 3 priceless singing tips for tackling this beast. Never, ever practice the Queen on tired vocal cords. Your muscle memory is always listening, and your brain logs every single crack and miss, creating a scar of fear that is hard to undo. Record every single rehearsal, preferably on video. The audio recorder might tell you the pitch was right, but the video doesn't lie. It will show you if you are tensing your neck, raising your shoulders, or developing other bad habits born of strain. Sandwich the aria with opposite repertoire. Before and after practicing the Queen, sing something legato, gentle, and low. This ensures the vocal folds don't get stuck in a high, tense position and begin to swell. If you feel even the slightest hint of a rasp, stop immediately. The F6 will be there tomorrow, your career might not. Subscribe to Opera Brownn for more high-note forensics. Next up, we're putting the tenor high C from Nessun Dorma under the microscope. And yes, tenors cry in the wings too. The audience experience. Even if you never sing a single note, understanding the stakes of the F6 completely rewires how you hear it. The next time that note arrives, you're not just hearing a pitch. You're hearing centuries of vocal pedagogy, months of grueling 7 a.m. scales, years of psychological conditioning, and one singer's intimate cage match with their own fear. That jolt you feel, that racing pulse, that's your own evolutionary biology recognizing a fellow human operating at the absolute outer edge of possibility. It's the same primal reflex that sells out tickets to Olympic sprints and free solo climbing documentaries. Only here, the muscle is the size of a thumbnail and completely invisible, and the finish line is one single gleaming, terrifying note. The legacy today, a new generation of brilliant queens, like Sabine de Viel and Erin Morley, bring their own fresh sparkle and incredible facility to the role. Yet, Diana Damrau's interpretation remains the benchmark, the reference track against which all others are measured. Conductors in rehearsal will still ask for that Damrau ping on the high notes. Voice teachers will still cue up that 2006 video, point to the screen, and tell their students, first, copy this, learn why it works. Then, you can find your own wings. The mountain is no shorter, the air no less thin at the top. But thanks to one supremely prepared Bavarian climber, we now have a detailed map of every handhold to the summit. So the next time you stream the Magic Flute, listen for it. Wait for that moment in Act 2. Feel the collective energy of an entire opera house holding its breath, inhaling as one single lung. Remember the 40% of singers who cancel, the 3 a.m. practice sessions, the pet viper metaphors, and the sheer force of will required to stand on that stage. Then, when the Diana Damrau F6 arrives, listen past the glittering coloratura, the thundering timpani, and the audience's gasp. What you are truly hearing is the sound of an artist who stared down the barrel of her own fear and refused to blink first. Diana Damrau proved that the most terrifying note on the lyric stage isn't a matter of sorcery or genetic luck. It's a monument to craft, obsessive maintenance, and above all, relentless, glorious audacity.